Today we will review 6th grade math lesson 3.2. This lesson will cover the division of fractions with unlike denominators. Here's your I can statement. I can divide two fractions with unlike denominators using several methods and explain my work. Let's review some vocabulary for today. So your vocabulary for today is reciprocal. It's also called multiplicative inverse. And to get the reciprocal of a number, all we need to do is to divide 1 by the number. For example, if you say the reciprocal of 3 is 1/3, because you're dividing 1 by that number. So if you notice, this is 3 over 1, and we flipped that fraction. So another way for me to remember reciprocal is I say re-flip-ical, because we're flipping it. All right, so let's look at a couple things for today. One way to solve a problem involving division of fractions with unlike denominators. So the whole lesson today is about dividing unlike denominators, is to rewrite the problem as a multiplication problem by using the multiplicative inverse of the divisor. Remember, two numbers are reciprocal of each other when multiplied by the product is 1. For example, 8/5 is the reciprocal of 5/8 because 8/5 times 5/8 equals 40 over 40, which equals 1. In general terms, the rule for the division of fractions with unlike denominators is listed below. Let's look over here also. It says using reciprocal numbers. When we're dividing by a fraction, we're saying 3/8 is divided by 3/4. 3 divided by 3 equals 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. But remember, when we're dividing by a fraction, it's equivalent to multiplying by the reciprocal. That is a very key statement here to understand. So 3/8 times 4/3, 3 times 4 is 12, 8 times 3 is 24, and that equals 1/2. For the examples today, if you look at your homework on page 75, they will be very similar to the ones we go over in today's lesson. So Maria needs to measure out 2/5 liters of broth for a recipe. If she only has a container that holds 1/10, how many containers will she need? So we want to find the total amount here. This is the whole amount that we're dealing with, or the total. That always helps us when we're setting this up. And when we read this word problem, what they're asking you is how many groups of 1/10 are in 2/5. That's the big question here. So here's the steps that we need to solve this problem. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4 are listed here. So we want to write a model to represent the situation. We always want to identify the whole total. So the whole amount was 2/5 is being divided by 1/10. They're saying how many groups of 1/10 are in 2/5. Step 2, identify the reciprocal of the divisor. This here is your divisor. Another way to remember this is something called keep, flip, change. Okay, that's just helping to remember what to do. So we keep, when we set this up, the first fraction. So we keep our dividend, okay? We keep the dividend the same. Oops, I need to do this over. I'm going to do... keep, change, flip. We change to multiplication. Okay, we're going to be multiplying. And then we flip. We're going to reflipical. We're going to take the reciprocal of the divisor, which is your second fraction. So again, here we're flipping this. We're taking the reciprocal of it. So if we have 2/5 divided by 1/10, so if we keep that first term, we change this to multiplication here. So this is keep, and then we changed to multiplication, and then we flipped, and then we go ahead and multiply across. 2 times 10 is 20, 5 times 1 is 5. 20 divided by 5, 4. So then step 4 is restate your answer. How many containers can she fill? Maria will need to fill 4 containers. Okay, divide the fractions by multiplying by the reciprocal of the divisor. So again, when we multiply by the reciprocal of the divisor, we're doing keep, change, flip. Raymond is making stir-fried rice for dinner. The recipe says to add 3/4 tablespoon of ground ginger, but he only has 1/8 teaspoon measuring spoon. How many measuring spoons of ginger should he add? So what's the total amount he needs? He needs the total amount is the 3/4. So we always want to write that first. 3/4 is being divided by 1/8. It's saying in this problem how many groups of 1/8 are in 3/4. So we need to keep the first term. So we need to keep 3/4. Then I'm going to change my sign of multiplication. And then I'm taking the reciprocal. I'm reflipping it, reflipical. And I'm doing 8/1. Then we multiply across 3 times 8, 4 times 1. And that would be 24 divided by 4, which would be 6 spoons of ginger. All right, these are pretty simple and straightforward. I encourage you to pause this video and complete these problems on your own first, and then go back and see how I solve them. Again, we will keep doing keep, change, flip. So on all these, we want to make sure we are taking the reciprocal or the reflipical of the divisor. Okay, so here we have 5/8. 5/8, and then change the sign to multiplication, flip that, take the reflipical, and then I know that I can take out and a factor of both of these as 8. 8 goes into 8 one time, 8 goes into 16 two times, so then I have 5 times 2 over 1 times 3. and I would get 10 thirds, which would be 3 1/3. Let's do this one. 2/3 divided by 5/6. 2/3, keep, change to multiplication, take the reciprocal, 6/5. 2 times 6, and then 3 times 5. 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. I want to simplify that. So that would be 4/5. Then I have 3/5 divided by 21 25ths. 3/5 times 25th, 21. Again, I can look for common factors here. So that's 1 and 5, and then 1 and 7. So that's 1 times 5 over 1 times 7. That would be 5/7. Then I have 7/9 times divided by 2/3. So I need to take the reciprocal of that. So that would be 3/2. And then 3 goes into both of those. So then I would have 7 times 1. 3 times 2 is 7/6, or 1 1/6. That is our lesson for Module 3, Lesson 2.